WSOM Richmond.
Sound of music. I said the sound of music. I said the sound of music. The sound of
WSOM Richmond.
sound of music. I said the sound of music. I said the sound of music. The sound of
WSOM Richmond.
sound of music. I said the sound of music. I said the sound of music. The sound of
WSOM Richmond.
sound of music. I said the sound of music. I said the sound of music. The sound of
WSOM Richmond.
sound of music. I said the sound of music. I said the sound of music. The sound of
WSOM Richmond.
sound of music. I said the sound of music.
Hey, 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 hey.
I said the sound of music. The sound of
Hi, welcome to Live from Sound of Music. I'm Bruce Smith, your host, and tonight we're here with Hayes Elverston of Hazeltone. How you doing, Hayes?
I'm doing great. How are you, Bruce?
I'm just fine, but I have some stress, so help me out.
have some stress. What sort of stress you got, Bruce?
How do you feel about the name change for the Washington team?
Well, you know, considering the current environment and what has been going on for years with the Washington Redskins about the name change, I think it's a good thing.
You got any ideas for the name?
You know, I haven't really hashed that one out because I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan and we don't have to change our name. So
I guess I'll have to continue the show now.
I will have to get back to you on that one, brother.
I kind of like Sentinels. I like that one. So once again, we're here live from Sound and Music every Wednesday at 6. Please subscribe. We want more subscribers. Keep this going. Keep the momentum rolling. And Hayes and I are socially distanced. He's about, I don't know, a good 50-yard bow shot away, I guess.
A good football 50 yards, Bruce.
Yes. So, Hayes, I want you to help me out here. I want to understand Charlottesville better.
Okay.
Because I'm from Richmond. And,
Right.
You know, us Richmonders can be a little aloof.
Yes.
You know that,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, you got that? Mm-hmm.
I've been here for years.
It's been noted for a long time. And I had some relatives from Charlottesville, some cousins.
Right.
And really, they were kind of like amphibian-like.
Right.
So, I, you know, bulging eyes,
Right. Right.
kind of like out of a Lovecraft novel.
Right.
And
So they
I
were-
want you to tell. So that's all I know about Charlottesville. Why don't you tell me what Charlottesville is like, and what it's like musically?
Well, you know, I grew up in Charlottesville, out 250 past Boar's Head Inn, in a place called Floriden subdivision. My parents owned the old farmhouse there in Floriden, and I grew up and went to school there. We had fields and everything all over the place, farms, which was awesome. I went to some really nice elementary schools, junior high and high school. I started playing music, I guess, when my dad started turning me on to like blues and jazz and all his 78 records. My dad was a jazz pianist as a hobby. And so I started playing music and getting involved with that. My first concert was Flat and Scruggs with Doc Watson and Son at Albemarle High School. I think I was in like 3rd or 4th grade. So I got into bluegrass in the beginning and started playing harmonica because I wasn't a really good guitar player back then. And then, you know, grew up in Charlottesville, which was just a incredible place to grow up in. We had about 4 or 5 places you could go and hear live music. You had Max, you had Trax, you had the Mine Shaft, you had the West Virginian. Wow, there was a place down on the mall, downtown mall, the C&O. That was a good place. I grew up with The Deal, Johnny Sportcoat and the Casuals, Skip Castro, TR3, Tim Reynolds.
Just stop there. You said Johnny Sportcoat and the Casuals.
Yeah.
Did
yeah,
you
Bob Gerard.
Did you personally know Mr. Vegas?
No, who is Mr. Vegas?
I think that's. Oh wait, that's the Vistamatics or something.
Vistamatics?
I'm just losing in an '80s haze here. So what haze? Sorry. Was it? So what were some of the other bands you liked in that era?
Oh,
Cruisematics. That's what I'm thinking of. The Cruisematics.
Yeah, Cruisematics were good. I loved Nick Nitrous and the Oxides. They were good.
I love it for the name.
98 Colors were good. And, you know, with young musicians, they're always switching around and dropping this name and starting another band. And
So what was your first band?
Nick Nitrous and the Oxides.
Okay,
I was Nicky Nitrous. Mm-hmm. And Victor Benshoff, who ran Radioactive Audio down here in Richmond, he grew up in Charlottesville. Randy Mendocino was the bass player. David Mendocino was the guitar player. And I think and Rob Brown was the drummer.
So did y'all get down to Richmond to play any, or?
No, we never got out of people's backyards and parties and stuff like that. It was one of those kind of bands. We played High Times at Hayden Hills a couple of years, way out in Batesville. That was a great time. But we didn't play anywhere where people had to pay to get in to see us. We were that kind of band.
Did you ever play any of those gigs? Like we played some in Richmond in the mid '80s, where we'd be playing in somebody's backyard in the fan at like 10 o'clock at night, and then we'd be absolutely amazed and outraged when the police came.
Yeah.
Just outraged. Who would call them on us, you know?
The neighbors are complaining about the sound that's coming from your
Neighbors are
residence,
complaining
sir.
about the sound, and I'm going
Right.
over the back fence. Thank you, sir.
We used to get that when I was going to VCU. A buddy of mine who owns a music store here in Richmond, Mark Safransky. He and I roomed together, so we always had jam parties on Friday night with margaritas and daiquiris and stuff like that. And the police always showed up, at like 11, and then they'd show up at 11:30, and then 12, and until they threatened to take us downtown, and we finally quit.
Yeah. Now they take you faster.
Yeah, they do take you faster, from what I'm told.
From what I'm told, yes.
Yeah. I've got a studio behind my house now, so I go out there if I want to, play music, and which is a really great garage that's turned into a studio. And then now that the band's not rehearsing because of C-19, I'm going down in the basement. I've got a chair and a table set up, and, it's all good.
So that brings me, I was meant to ask this, but I distracted myself with other things. How is COVID life for you? What changes have you had to make as far as work or your music?
Well, when it first hit, I do home improvements right now, do a lot of painting and plastering, and a lot of my clients kind of said, well, we're going to wait and see how this plays out. And then about 2 or 3 weeks later, everything started falling into place. I have a cookout in the backyard on the deck with social distancing with some really good friends of mine that are musicians in bands, really good bands here in Richmond. We cook out either Friday or Saturday night, and the Atkinsons,
Yeah, they're good.
Jessica and Wayne Pooley, Brass and Pocket, Love Redemption, Chris Kroll, who plays with Janet Martin, and the Atkinsons as well. And so we have a great, close, little group that comes over about every 2 weeks. So, but other C-night, I'm working every day. We played some music last weekend with a bunch of bands outside at a brewery, Mainline Brewery, that was absolutely fantastic. We raised almost $3,300 for Richmond Animal Care and Control. It's
Excellent.
a thing that I do every year. This is the second year I've done it. And we had food trucks, 7 bands, and it was an all-day event. And it was a lot of fun. But right now, just being careful, wearing bandana, gloving up if I'm going into Lowe's or Kroger or the liquor store or something like that. Just being aware of your surroundings and making sure you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, I'm mainly staying in touch with various band members, but, I'm fairly happy right now hibernating and just practicing lots of guitar.
Yeah.
Being patient, not in a rush.
Yeah, I mean, we're not rehearsing at all, but everybody's talking and texting and stuff, and we're just going to wait to see how it plays out. The studio is not big enough for social distancing. We're about 3 feet apart from everybody, and we just don't want to start something that we can't finish, so to speak.
You provided me with a great transition. We're here live from Sound of Music, like we are every Wednesday night at 6 with local musicians and artists. Tonight we're with Hayes Elverston of Hazeltone, telling some good stories and getting some advice and things like that. But we are at Sound of Music Studios, which is a large studio. So if your band needs a socially distanced place to rehearse, you could rehearse here, and we have the staff masks and everything. So if you want to record, got lots of space to do it safely. Remember, also subscribe to our channel if you're enjoying your viewing. Hayes, tell me how Hazeltone got started.
Well, Hazeltone got started about 11 years ago, morphed into all these, from all these other bands that I had, and we played a lot of covers, and I was pushing my original music in, and I'm walking down the street from Guitar Works. I picked up my guitar, and this guy came up and introduced me to to a friend of his, and he said, "This is Hayes Elverston in Hazeltone, and it's a cover band, you know. It's a really good cover band." And I was like, geez, man, no, you didn't say it, did you? So then I just, you know, I said, I'm going to do all original music. You know, I've paid my dues. I've done enough, you know, of playing that stuff. And I love that stuff. Don't get me wrong. I love cover music and everything. And we play a couple of covers. So the band started almost 11 years ago. I've got fantastic musicians. I've got a guest musician, a saxophone player, Roger Carroll.
He's excellent.
Yeah, he's mind-blowing. The best in Richmond by far. I've got Gary Fralin on the piano. He was from the Bobcats.
Excellent.
He also plays accordion. I've switched. I was working with Phil Pierce, who played with us bass for a long time. But our original bass player, Gray Hollins, who left the band probably 7 years ago to have children, has decided he wanted to come back and play. So I brought him back in. Blee Child is the drummer, who is absolutely amazing.
He's amazing.
And I've got John Beckner, who plays congas, and he's magnificent. Just really a great friend of mine. And then Kevin Damian, who has played longer than 11 years with me. But the story about that is I had this gig down at Beach Road Grill in Nags Head, and I didn't have a whole band to go down, so I said, what the hell, we'll do Hazelgrass, Hazeltone songs in bluegrass. So he got these guys together, stand-up bass player and another drummer and guitar and everything, and that's how our friendship started, doing Hazelgrass. And so now he's my guitar player. Harry Gore, who everybody knows here in Richmond, a phenomenal guitarist, also sits in and plays with us as well. I don't think I've missed anybody, have I?
I don't think you've missed anybody, but where's my check for finding Blee for you to play drums?
Oh, dude, I'm telling you.
He's
the guy's a
amazing.
monster. But you know, we had Chris Kroll. But
He was awesome, too.
Chris plays in so many really awesome bands. I love the Atkinsons. I love Janet Martin. But I just needed somebody to say, okay, I'm not going to play with a million bands. I'll just play with you guys. And, of course, Blee has little side projects, but it never interfered with the scheduling of gigs and stuff like that. And I think that was my and that continues to be my biggest concern with the guys. It's like, okay, Hazeltone's playing, you know, you all are playing, you know.
So tell me a good Blee Child story.
Oh, geez. Oh, okay. I'll give you a good Blee Child and a John Beckner. So we go down, and we've been asked by Mike Kelly to play one of the last shows at Kelly's before they closed down. And I'd known Mike for 25, 30 years, however long he had been there. And so we go down there and we play this incredible gig. And Mike Kelly gave us these rooming houses or offices, but they were band quarters. He said, well, hell, you can just come down and stay for free, you know, Friday, Saturday, and just leave Sunday. And we were only playing Saturday night. I'm telling you what, Beckner, so we're all in there, we're going to bed, you know, everybody's asleep. All of a sudden, Beckner and Blee. Beckner pulls out the banjo, and Blee, I think Blee had some sort of congas or maybe a guitar. Those guys kept everybody up in the entire hotel, you know, band space. Luckily for me, I had my RV down there, and I stayed in that. So I was hanging out with the guys, but then I said, no, I'm going to go out to the RV and crash. But I was told that they were kept up all night long.
Well, you know, a lead singer does have a responsibility to keep the voice in good shape and be responsible.
Yeah.
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 So were you always a singer, or is this something that developed was it with Nick Nitrous? Or?
No, you know, Nick Nitrous, my first couple of gigs with Nick Nitrous, I was effing petrified to sing. So I would crouch behind the drummer and sing. And Victor Benchoff always used to give me, you know, the what for about it. Come on, you know, that my nickname was Cowboy. Come on now, you know, he'd cuss at me. Cowboy, come on, just get up there and start singing. And I was, you know, crouched down behind this drummer. I don't know what I was thinking, but then I became Nick Nitrous. I wasn't Hayes Elverston anymore. So then I came out and I started singing. And so that's where it all started. And I started as a singer because I was everybody that played guitar up in Charlottesville were much better than I was. You know, I could do one of those kumbaya things, you know, on the steps of a fraternity house or something and have somebody smash my guitar. But I was a harmonica player, you know, so I also played harmonica with Nick Nitrous, but with David Mendocino and Randy Mendocino and Tony Fisher. That was the other guitar player. Tony Fisher, Evan Johns and the H-Bombs, all these other bands. He was phenomenal. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, nobody wants to hear me play, so I sang.
So don't usually do this, but you were telling me a little story about your first harmonica in Charlottesville. Could you regale us with that?
Yeah, well, I started playing harmonica when I was in 7th grade, and I heard John Mayall's Room to Move, and that just blew me away. And then I'm going, oh, well, I'm going to be a harmonica player. So I was dating this girl named Tammy Carter that lived in Batesville. And I lived at the Boar's Head, near the Boar's Head Inn in Florida, so that was like 15 miles away or something. So I would lie to my mother and tell her, if you give me a ride to the Carters, her mother is going to bring me back, which was a total lie. And I shoplifted my first harmonica from Rose's, or maybe it was Ben Franklin, because I never had a ride out of that Batesville. I always had to walk from her house, which was 5 or 6 miles, up to 250. There at Crozet, where the crossroads are, the blinking lights. If you've ever been up there, you know it's before you get up to Afton Mountain. And I always thought, you know, bears or some animal was gonna attack me or something like that. Hell, I was only 13. So I would blow this harmonica all the way out and all the way until I caught a ride, which was about 10:30 or 11 o'clock at night, because I had to be home then. And that's where I got my start playing harmonica. And, you know, I don't play it as much as I used to. I mean, there were bands that's all I did. I would sit in and play with Janet Martin on Thursday nights at Cabo's. I did a couple other shows with them. I did that for years. And but, yeah, that's how I got my start. And so I've got, you know, a huge box of harmonicas that I carry around, and I'm learning chromatic, which is not the easiest harmonica to learn on, but I'm getting there.
Taking it up a notch.
Yeah, I mean, it's C19. Pick up a new instrument, learn to play it, which is great.
Who are some of your favorite harmonica players?
John Mayall was great. The Blues Traveler guy.
Popper.
Yeah, Popper was, and I play a lot like him at times. And I love Sonny Terry and Brownie McGee. Those old blues records that my dad turned me on to.
Little Walter.
Lil Walter, definitely, yeah. But I think John Mayall pulled it out of the blues era, you know, genre for me when he played Room to Move. And he had that, 5-minute harmonica part that he was playing by himself that absolutely kind of blew me away. And I said, well, I'm going to be a harmonica player. It's easy to carry around and no amplifier. But then I started getting an amplifier. I had a Jazz 120, a Roland Jazz 120 that I used to play through with the harmonica, which was great. And you know, growing up in Charlottesville, I played with a lot of people, but you know, everybody was kind of back then. You know, this is our band, and unless you've rehearsed with us, we don't normally have, you know, people come up and play with us, which is what I do a lot. You know, when people come up and approach us to play, it's a tough one, you know, depending on the mood and everything else. So
Hey, wait, I'm just going to left turn here on you because it just occurred to me. Were the
Left turn.
Michael Guthrie band from Charlottesville?
yes,
They
I
were?
do think so.
That guy was an amazing guitar player.
Yes, he was.
And they'd come to Richmond and play for like 10 people, and he was amazing.
But he lived on the outskirts.
Yeah.
Of and Billy Brockman would know that. He had Charlottesville Music. He had one of the best music stores besides Stacy's, which was on the downtown mall. But Billy Brockman would be able to tell you that, and he's a fantastic guitar player.
Now, where do you
as
like to
well.
play in Charlottesville these days when y'all go up there?
Well, we go up and play at the Southern Music Hall, which is absolutely fantastic. We will, you know, it's nice and kind of small. So that's where we play. We played up there about 3 or 4 times so far, and we play down in Nags Head once a year, twice a year. But of course now nobody's playing really anywhere unless it's outside. And down there's like 4 or 5 places that you can play outside. But you know, I'm not real happening on a 3-hour travel and setting up and playing. And I like to keep it close to home. You know, I love that part of it.
Yeah. Quality over quantity.
Yes, absolutely. And now, you know, I sent something after this, you know, during this C19 stuff. I told the guys, I said, we're not going to play the little places anymore. We're gonna push to bigger venues and play less. And you know, you get a better crowd, I think, if you don't play, you know, 24/7. And a lot of bands love playing 24/7. I just, you know, I could never get on the road in a tour bus and play every night. It would drive me crazy.
Well,
Because I've always said, you know, and the guys finally started understanding. And I said, I don't want to play it like we've always played it. We'll play it a little bit differently. So we go off in all these little directions, which is cool. You know, and Blee is always, you know, going, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then I'll want to switch, and he'll go, wait a minute. And I can see his face, you know, slow down. And it's fantastic when that happens. It especially happens when we have Roger Carroll, who's played with us for a long time,
Well-
and Harry Gore.
well, that's one thing that's interesting to me about, and we'll talk a little more about the songs themselves after you play us a couple shortly. But one thing that always gets me about Hazeltone is, you know, you could have what's essentially a pop song with some good lyrics, but your crew will take it somewhere into outer space, but
Yes.
not too long into outer space.
No.
But you will get some, you know, there will be improvised sections from Roger or Kevin, you know.
Yeah,
and
Kevin's really
depending
good.
on who's in the band
Yeah.
on that
Yeah.
time. So, you know, it's not the same thing every time,
No.
but you have that framework where you're singing a melodic song with some hooks.
Yeah, and we also have a part, 39th Street Matador, which is a Spanish-style song that we do. And everybody completely stops except for the conga player, the drummer, and the bass player. And they'll play for like 3-4 minutes. And then everybody comes back in, you know. So, yeah, we go down different roads a lot, playing the same song. And that's what makes it fun for everybody.
And when they're on those flights of fancies, you, of course, are strumming along on that guitar. What kind of guitar is that you got there, Hayes?
That is a Takamine 12-string.
6 were not enough for you. You had to have the 12-string?
No, ever since I saw John Denver play 12-string guitar, I said, I'm gonna play 12-string.
What do you like about it?
It's very melodic. But what's weird is I'll write songs on a beat-up Fender acoustic. You know, every guitar player's got 50 million guitars in the basement, you know. So I've got like 8, I think.
Well, we're going to hear what it sounds like now. If you would favor us with a couple of your songs.
All right, I will.
Keep going. I'll transition. Hey, we're live from Sound of Music like we are every Wednesday at 6 with Hayes. This week with Hayes Elverston of Hazeltone. He's going to play us a couple of songs. If you're on YouTube watching us, please subscribe. Once again, Sound of Music Studios, where you can record, live stream. We've been doing a lot of band live streaming lately. People reaching out to their fans without having to go out and play regular shows. And right now we got Hayes with us. So he's going to play a couple of his songs. Then we're going to come back and talk about them on the other side.
You know, I just want to add to that, Bruce. Sound of Music Studio, we did an incredible promotional video out of this place. We recorded here at the studio, live on stage, and then we also played at Broadberry. We were opening up for Tim Reynolds' TR3. And John Moran came in with these 4 people with cameras and everything at the Broadberry and just crawled all over the stage, which was absolutely fantastic. And so we came and we set up down here on this stage where I am, and they videoed a couple of songs and synced all that into a couple of songs that we had recorded here at the studio. And it was absolutely fantastic. And a matter of fact, it's on our Facebook. So if you want to go see what John Moran and the Sound of Music, Bruce mixed it all for us. You can check that out. But it is a fantastic place to record, and it's nice and big. And
well, thank you. Play on,
welcome.
Troubadour.
All right. Making love to you all of the time. You don't know how good that it gets, 'cause you're always blowing my mind. Come out, sneak out tonight, pull my car down your bring albums, Pink Floyd of course. No one knows that you're gone. Wanna see you tonight. Tonight. You don't know how good that it gets, making love to you all of the time. You don't know how good that it gets, 'cause you're always blowing my mind. She doesn't know how much I care, but I tell her all the time. When she walks by my house today, well, I tell her that she's mine. You don't know how good that it gets. Making love to you all of the time. You don't know how good that it gets. 'Cause you're always blowing my money. You don't know how good that it gets. Making love to you all the time. You don't know how good that it gets. 'Cause you're always blowing my mind. 'Cause you're always blowing my mind. 'Cause you're always blowing my mind. Woohoo! Good golly, Miss Molly. Well, let's talk a little bit before I play another song. Can we do that? Bruce? I wrote that song about a wonderful, wonderful friend of mine. Here's another one. Sitting at my table, another cup of coffee, reading a letter you wrote, reading a letter you wrote. Violin play, a song I didn't know, didn't know. Didn't know. Remember back those days now. You held my hand. Those days are gone now. Those days are gone. A violin play, a song I didn't know, didn't know, didn't know. Sitting at my table, another cup of coffee, reading a letter you wrote,
Thank you, Hayes.
Thank you, thank you.
You've gotten a couple of, in case you didn't think I was paying attention, I was looking at some YouTube comments. The Bart Chucker Band.
Oh, yeah, Bart.
They send their love and say, you have a big heart.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, Bart Chucker, they were at the RACC rocking for Richmond Animal Care and Control. What a lovely guy, bunch of guys. What a lovely band. Had a good time with those guys.
And
Known them for years.
And back in the day, he did such a nice job of taking care of my traffic tickets.
Yeah, I know. There's no criminal intent here.
Yeah, not at all. And also, you got another person wrote in and complimented your harmonica playing.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about the second song, if you don't mind.
Well, you know, it's about a guy that's reading a Dear John letter in his little country cottage out in the country, and sitting at the table, and house is empty, and there's a letter on the table, and he's drinking coffee, and he's absolutely surprised that she's left him. And so that was, and I wrote this song for Dennis Elliott, who's an absolutely incredible man and violin player that played with us for absolutely years. And until we changed into a different Hazeltone. And I wrote that song for him, and it was called Violin. And it is just, I think, an incredible way of someone not realizing that, you know, they're being dumped, or the relationship that they've put everything into is gone, and the violin played a song I didn't know. So that's.
Dennis is an excellent player.
Oh my God.
He's also loud, but we'll forgive that for the excellence.
Yes, he is. He's a rock star. Man, it's funny when I was on when I advertised for a violin player, because that's the route I thought I wanted to go, and he called up, and I said, I want somebody that sounds like Jean-Luc Ponty, kind of like Boyd Tinsley. And he says, well, I'm offended by Boyd Tinsley, but I can really play Jean-Luc Ponty. So we went at Cafe Diem. That's back then when Richard Arthur had Cafe Diem, and everybody played there. So he gave us a shot, and Dennis came in, and oh my God. I'm going, that's the missing link. And I think we did that for 3 or 4 years. And then I switched him out when Roger came back from Chicago, because Roger Carroll spent a couple of years up in Chicago with his girlfriend, and went to all of these jazz clubs and blues, and and came back with just a different style and a different passion. Of course, he's always been phenomenal. But then, I had Dennis and the violin and saxophone play on stage, and it just became, it was like herding cats. You get 8 people on stage, like, what the hell?
Well, I've heard you're a good cat herder, though.
Yes, I'm a wonderful cat herder.
But I want to ask, got a couple more minutes here. I want to get in a question about my favorite Hazeltone song, Matador.
Yes.
So that one's interesting because it's got those interesting ethnic rhythms.
Yes.
And, it seems to me it's got some erotic imagery in there. Can you tell us a little bit about that song?
Well, 39th Street Matador is a Spanish themed song. I mean, it's like...
Yep.
And that's how it starts out. It's about in Spain, on a street, And this girl comes out and sees a guy. He's not a matador, but he looks like a matador. And she's never been with this guy before, and she's seen him before in this club or on this street. So you can just picture going up into this, 15-foot ceiling apartment with, stucco that's showing brick and stuff like that, with a fireplace and gauze bedding and all of that. But it's, very poor. It's a poor person that has this apartment, and there's candles and everything. And so they start this love affair in this room above this restaurant, and that's, the matador is, how matadors are, with the bull and everything. It's the lovers' dance that they do in front of that fireplace that I just love, and I loved writing that song because it was so different. There's, with Hazeltones, there's a lot of stuff like that, and I don't want to be the band that's like, oh, geez, every song sounds the same, because that can be the death of you unless the people that are watching you like the same song played the entire night, So that's why I make it a point in my songwriting to be different in songs. And I think one person that I've gotten a lot of my songwriting, I don't steal from him, but I listen to his thought process and his words, is Mark Roebuck from The Deal. Mm-hmm. He's now in Kingdom of Mustang. He played here at the Sound of Music studio, I think maybe 2 years ago. And when he was with The Deal, and then I had the pleasure of listening to a lot of songs that he wrote on cassettes. Mm-hmm. And we'd sit around and drink and, do what you do late night. And I just love the way he pronounces words and, and everything. And so I kind of pull from that. Now I pull from a couple other, John Mayer. I've got a song that, could have been written by John Mayer, I think, called Ice Cream. A lot of my songwriting is from relationship experiences, life experiences like everybody else. I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel, but I'm trying to sing to you out there, hoping that you'll, because I have people that I can see them singing my songs in the audience, so I know they know the songs, which is it's a great feeling, and to have that happen is so rewarding.
Yeah, Matador is an excellent song.
Yeah.
So what's next? We have to wrap up, but what's next for Hazeltone?
Well, Hazeltone, we're working on a couple of things. It looks like that we're going to be playing out at Lewis Ginter here next month. And I want to, we used to play the small places, but we're going to start playing at a little bit bigger venues, playing outside, until, we figure out what's going on. And that's cool. Everybody's fixing up their house, and they're doing this and them doing gardening and stuff like that. So it's a great time to reflect and to give back to yourself, during this pandemic. And once we figure this all out, everybody will go inside and play some music. But music's always been in my soul, in my heart, and it'll always be with me, which is also a curse. But, when I went to college, I was an English major. And so that's what I'm doing with my degree. I'm writing stuff and having a good time and meeting wonderful people like yourself and Sound of Music Studio.
Well said, Hayes. Thanks for being on the show. So
thank you for
this was
having me,
live from Sound of Music. I'm Bruce Smith, your host. We were here with Hayes Elverston from Hazeltone. Look for him out there somewhere, and you can go see them. Once they
I'll
get
be
rolling,
there.
they play a lot. So once things get a little more normal, and we'll look forward to hearing some more studio music one day soon, too, from
Thank you, brother.
Hazeltone.
And thank everyone for tuning in to listening
Yeah.
tonight.
Thank
Really
you.
means a lot to the band.
Thank everyone, and we'll see you next Wednesday live. Subscribe. Good night.
There you go.
Woo. Another one done.
Another one bites the dust.
WSOM Richmond.
Sound of music. I said the sound of music. I said the sound of music. The sound of music.
WSOM